Are you thinking of listing a brand new product on Etsy? Don't hit publish just yet, because in this episode, I'm sharing the exact tips and tricks that will help your listing get found, clicked, and most importantly, bought. So if you are a beginner, if you are someone who has kind of been listing a little bit, but you're not really getting much traction, or you just want to know how I would list a product on Etsy, then stay tuned. So if you are new here, hello, my name is Steph, and I help people go from an expensive hobby to six figures and beyond if they want to, or just a business that helps them and sustains them and feels calm and easy breezy. I'm all about simple, I'm all about scalable, I'm all about sustainable. So you are not going to find any weird like 2-week hints or tips or hacks or anything like that. Just real sustainable things that don't mean you have to change stuff every 2 freaking weeks. And I help over 80,000 people each and every week through my emails, through my Monday lives, stuff on Facebook, Instagram, the podcast, the YouTube videos, all the good stuff and content that I create each and every week. And if you've ever felt super overwhelmed about what on earth to include in your Etsy listing, titles, tags, photos, descriptions, this episode is going to break it all down and help you list with confidence. And also, just a side note here, please do not forget to subscribe or leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you are listening to this, because honestly, it is super important for the content that I do work pretty damn hard for to be seen by more people. So I would love that. It's free to you, makes all the difference to me. So thank you so much in advance. Let's be honest, listing a product, whether it's on Etsy, whether it's on Amazon or on Shopify or on your own website, on Wix or Square or wherever, right? It can just feel more complicated than it needs to be. You know what your listing is and what it does and what the ingredients are and what it's made out of, but getting that across online is another matter entirely. Between SEO, pricing, photography, it's really easy to get stuck or unsure as to what on earth to do next. So because of that, in this episode, I'm going to walk you through 5 things. Number 1, how to write a title that actually gets found in search, all the simple, easy things that you can do. Number 2, what your photos really need to do and what they should look like. Number 3, the must-haves in your description. Number 4, tagging tips and tricks and little simple things that you can do just to help your tags work a little bit harder for you. And number 5, how to actually price so that people buy. So here's a big question that I have for you. Is your listing doing the selling for you or confusing people before they even get to that add to cart or buy now button? And honestly, I posted a reel a couple of months back basically saying, if you tag your small handmade business, I will go in the comments and I will buy from 3 of them. It was a huge learning experience for me, because honestly, the amount of people whose links were broken, who, you know, their Instagram was selling something completely different to what their link was doing. They commented something, you know, that didn't exist. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Now, not only that, but when I actually got to their Etsy listings, it was a whole other kettle of fish, because not only was I finding outdated information, I was finding photos that were cluttered, that were dark. I was finding titles and descriptions that weren't matching. I was finding irrelevant keywords. I was finding broken links. I was finding things that was confusing me. And I've been on Etsy for 10 years now. And it was just like an amazing thing where I was looking at it and I was thinking, this is not easy for people to buy. And I am what people would consider an expert. So surely if I can't buy it, your customers won't even know where to begin. So I'm going to ask you that question again. Is it easy for people to buy, or is it confusing people? And basically this whole video / podcast is going to be dedicating to simplifying the experience for your buyer. Because don't forget, a confused mind always says no. All right, so step 1, let's start with your title. Your title is not where you get cute. It's not where you start putting the Amanda collection or this, or, you know, it's really where you've got to get extremely utilitarian with exactly what your product is and what kind of words people are going to be using to search for it. And that is pretty much it, which I know sounds really simplified, and so many gurus have made a ton of money by telling you that it's anything other than a simple thing to get right. Let me tell you that for sure. Your title is basically your first line, your first port of call with Etsy SEO. SEO is search engine optimization. It's basically the keywords and phrases that you want to be putting in your listing so that the algorithm knows who to show it to, and make sure that they show it to the right people. If you want to learn more about the Etsy algorithm, go and listen to, I believe it's episode 1, where I talk a lot more in depth about the algorithm and how it works. So episode number 1, nice and easy, go and listen to that, because it's going to just make this whole thing feel a lot cleaner and a lot clearer for you. Basically, your SEO, Etsy uses it to understand what your product is, because remember, Etsy is a sorting system. It's basically a sorting system search engine where customers who are ready to buy handmade products will go type in what they want and Etsy will show it to them. That's basically what our fees are paying for. It's a fancy ass way of sorting and presenting the right things to the right people. But in order for Etsy to do that, it needs some input from you, because Etsy it doesn't have eyes, right? The machine and the algorithm, it doesn't have eyeballs. It doesn't know what your listing is. So hence why we need to use SEO, search engine optimization, keywords and phrases, to basically give it a little bit of a leg up so it can understand exactly what your listing is and who it needs to be shown to. So here's some tips for your titles. You want to start with the most searchable keywords. So for example, personalized teacher gift or end of term mug. This is called front loading, and you basically want to front load the most important search terms first, okay? Now, the main reason for this is because when people are reading your title, they're only going to read the first probably third of it, and also Google will prioritize the front load of any keywords that you are putting in there, right? So you really want to make sure to front load your most important keyword search terms in the first third of your title. Now, a quick side note here, whilst we're talking about SEO, is that you never, ever want to change any listing that's bringing you in views, bringing you in sales, that's genuinely doing well. Because as we've just talked about, Etsy algorithm does not have eyes. So the minute you change something within your listing, it basically resets the clock. Etsy basically has this, people call it a clock, the algorithm, basically it resets things, which means that Etsy usually takes between 30 to 90 days, normally around the 60-day mark, for it to put your listing out there, see how people interact with it, and rank it and stick it where it needs to go in everybody's personalized search results. By the way, there is no such thing as page 1 anymore. Everyone's page 1 is different. So by you going in and changing your title, your tags, anything that's SEO related, you are basically saying to Etsy, no, let's time out, let's reset things. So if you're doing that on listings that are doing well for you, it's obviously a big no-no. So your tips for titles, the first one was to start with your most searchable keyword terms first. Front load those in the first third. Number 2 is to use plain language that your ideal customer would type in the search bar. I know it sounds simple, okay? And it sounds really like the most non-tip that I've probably ever given you. But the amount of times that I've gone in and I've looked at other people's listings, right? And I've seen really complicated terms that only they would know what on earth they need, like hammered finish bangle. Your audience might not know what a hammered finish is. So describing it as something a little bit more simplified and actually how your target audience would search for it just helps you to get seen and found. Tip number 3 is avoid fluff, like beautiful or one of a kind, unless it's what people are actually searching. I see this a lot where someone will be like the Samantha collection or beautiful necklace or one of a kind bangle. And it's like, people are not typing that in. Like when you go to Etsy, are you typing in beautiful bangle? No, you're probably just typing in butterfly bangle or elephant bracelet or whatever. You're not typing in those fluff filler words. So you shouldn't be using them in your title either. And also product collection names, I would get those out of your title, because at the end of the day, your title is for Etsy SEO. It's for the algorithm. If you are typing in the Amanda collection, Etsy's like, I don't know what that is, and you're wasting valuable SEO space. Now, for each one of these sections, I want to do a little how-to, a little step-by-step of how I would actually do it. So let's do this with the title. So go to Etsy search bar, okay, because that's the platform that you want to list it on. So start there for your keyword research, okay, the keywords and phrases that you want to find to actually use in your title. Type in the first 1 to 2 words of your product, example teacher gift, and see what drops down in that menu that will pop out when you start typing. Basically, look at what autofills, because these are popular searches that are happening on Etsy right now. And use those exact phrases in the beginning of your title. Also, please make sure to separate keyword phrases with a comma, or at a push a dash, but I would personally use a comma. It's like nationwide, it's worldwide in terms of that's the common keyword separator. Use a comma between each keyword phrase. So for example, teacher gift for her, right? Teacher gift for her, you type that in, you put a comma, then you do teacher gift for whatever, comma, teacher, something like that. Now, I'm not saying you have to repeat the word teacher gift all the time, because once you've used it once, that's pretty much it. But we're kind of getting into a little bit more of the complicated realms now. And honestly, this whole video, I just want to keep it simple, okay? So make sure that you are looking at what keyword phrases and things are being auto-populated. Whenever you start typing, see what's there. Now, this is also where people have mentioned things like eRank, and you might have heard Marmalade, eRank. My God, there's so many SEO keyword tools that you can use now. My two favorites are eRank and Keywords Everywhere. I am not affiliated or employed or whatever by any of these tools, never have been, never will be. So I will just call it as I see it. eRank is okay, it's fine, it's good. Keywords Everywhere is a pretty good keywords plugin that you can use for everywhere, like Pinterest, like Etsy. It's really good for getting found in Google searches. But if you just want to keep it simple, just use the Etsy search bar. Now, a quick side tip here is before you write your title, go onto Etsy and search for similar products that you sell and see what the top best-selling people are using in their titles, because that's a surefire way of seeing what's working for them. And then once you've found these phrases, start typing those in the search bar and see what other keyword phrases come up. So you can kind of see how doing keyword research, it branches off into lots of different areas and places that you perhaps wouldn't have even thought to begin typing. Okay, step 2, let's talk about your photos. So you get up to 10 photos on each Etsy listing, okay? Use every single one of them. But the first one, that is your thumbnail. That is the most important photo out of all of your 10. And you need to make sure to get this right. An activity that I want you to do before listening further is I want you to go to Etsy. I want you to type in a similar product to what you sell, or it can be the exact product if you want to. And I want you to scroll through the images, through those squares that you are presented with when you do that search. Because honestly, if those pictures that are coming back through the search results people are scrolling through are anything less than an 8, 9, 10 out of 10, then unfortunately you're going to get lost in the sea of mediocrity, as I like to call it. So you need to obviously make sure that your pictures are standing out amongst all these other people that are in the search results. So how do you do that? You need to make sure your listing pictures are clear, they are bright, they are styled but not cluttered, and they ideally show the product in some kind of context. So for example, jewelry being worn, a mug being held, a water bottle being used. I really am a massive fan of lifestyle shots, especially as your thumbnail picture, your first picture, because immediately you can see the relative size, the color, it being used. It gives you all of the information that you need to know. What I am not a fan of is listing pictures where they're just kind of chucked on the floor, chucked on a desk or whatever, and it just looks like it's not styled. It's kind of like you wouldn't go into a boutique and expect the clothes to be kind of folded or chucked on the floor. You would expect them to be presented to you, the messaging be right, the aesthetics, the vibe. It needs to be the same for your product pictures. Always remember that your target audience cannot pick up and touch and feel and use your product online. They can't do that. So your pictures must do that for them. Let's go through a little photo checklist, okay? So your thumbnail image, as we've talked about, very, very important, should always be clean, clear, and bright. Please, 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 I don't want any blurry pictures. I don't want any ridiculously edited photos. I don't want to see like watermarks over it. I just want to see something that is clean, clear, and bright. So let's go through the 10 photo slots and what I would put in each slot. So the first is your thumbnail image. We've talked about this. It's got to be clean, clear and bright. The second slot, I would do a close-up on certain product details, buckles, lids, fastenings, whatever. The third slot, I would use a lifestyle shot of the product actually being used. Slot 4, I would do sizing or something to show its scale. So hold it in your hand, have a ruler next to it if you need to, something that shows its relative size. Number 5, I would use as a packaging or a gift wrap option. Slot number 6, I would actually use it as a flat lay with some kind of branded props. Slot number 7, I would use for alternative angles. And actually what you can do is you could have like 4 images in one photo slot. Slot number 8, I'd have things like any options like colors or personalization or just something showing the different options. Slot number 9, I would show the product in real life. So for example, in a room, on a table, being worn, like a lifestyle shot, but more kind of how it would look in the day to day. Number 10, I would have an infographic, instruction, something with some words on it if you need to. All right, so those are the 10 photo slots and how I would use each one. So let's do a little bit of a how-to on actually how to shoot your photos. So please use natural lighting. Morning or late afternoon light is perfect. A cloudy day is great because the light is already diffused. It's not direct. It's not going to be bright and cause a lot of distracting shadows. Also, shoot against a neutral background. You can remove the background in Canva. And I also think as well, a neutral background is a bit less distracting. Now, your neutral might actually be one of your brand colors, and that's fine, even if it is like a muted yellow or pink or lilac. I think neutral is really just referring to make sure it's not like very distracting. So this is why one of my pet peeves is when someone is putting a product on a wooden floor. That is my pet peeve. I absolutely hate it. Buyers hate it too. And honestly, a wooden grainy background is extremely distracting, and it can also suck the light out of your image as well. Tip number 3 is to edit your brightness and contrast. Don't over filter it though. You can do this really easily in Canva. Honestly, ditch Photoshop, ditch every other, app that you have. Just go into Canva and do it. It's so super easy. And tip number 4 is show your hand or a scale where possible. It builds that context and connection with your target audience. All right, number 3, let's get into the descriptions, okay? Your product description should basically tell a story and answer questions that your customers have without them even realizing that they have it. Now, side note here is that if your descriptions and your messaging and your sales copy is something you struggle with, please go and listen to episode 60 because I'm talking a lot more about your messaging. It's going to be a really valuable episode for you guys to listen to. I promise it will be worth your time. So with your descriptions, you're essentially going to have to show and share how the product is going to fit in with your target audience's lives. So here's a format that I love. Number 1, you have the hook. You want to grab their attention with a benefit. Something like, this mug was made for those just 5 more minutes mornings. That is a hook. That is something where it's like, oh, okay, that's grabbed me in. Now the hook has to be specific to your target audience. Don't use any wishy-washy messaging. It doesn't work. It's a waste of time. So instead, have a hook, something that your target audience will go, oh, that is me. Number 2, details. What are they actually getting? Size, materials, customization, all these kinds of things. Now, there are 2 ways that I like to do this. I like to have a bullet point list, and I like to have more of a painting a picture kind of descriptive paragraph. You want the bullet points for the skimmers, but you want the descriptive paragraph for those who kind of almost want to be sold to. So point number 3 in the format that I love for descriptions is your usage, okay? When/why are they going to use it? Is it for everyday use? Does it make a really awesome gift? Kind of paint some more examples for them as to why they need to buy it. And then number 4 is finish with some kind of reassurance. This is a great opportunity to answer some objections, some questions, things like packaging, care instructions, things like that would be great here. All right, let's talk about a how-to when it comes to your product descriptions. So you want to open with a sentence that makes your product feel like an absolute must-have. have. You want to use bullet points for things like size, color, materials, but you also want to have a description, a paragraph where you are painting the picture in a more descriptive way. And again, if you go to episode 60, I'm going to be talking a lot more about that. Number 4, answer some common questions, some common objections. How do you package this? What are the care instructions? What does this personalization option look like? Answer any questions that they might have. Also, include keywords naturally in the first few paragraphs, because Google actually reads this. And if you ever go to Google and type in anything product related, Etsy always comes up really, really highly. Not just Etsy, but people's product listings. And ultimately, you want your product listings to be shown on Google search results as well. In order for you to do that, make sure to keyword the descriptions as well as the title and the tags. Okay, step 4. Now let's talk about tags. Tags are one of the most overlooked parts of a listing, I find, but they massively affect your visibility. So here are some top tips. Use all 13 tags. Repeat important keywords from your title. Honestly, so many people say do not do this, but literally I have run a year-long test on my own shop, and the listings where I have done this have outperformed those that haven't. I know that people say you do not need to repeat things, but the algorithm on virtually everything always says important terms you repeat throughout your title, throughout your description, and throughout your tags if that platform has them. So I'm going to be doing the same when it comes to Etsy, because the more I am repeating something in different places, the more the algorithm is going to say, okay, that thing must be that thing because this person is repeating that word over and over again in a natural way. Include synonyms like mug or cup or chalice, if that's applicable. Don't waste space on single words unless it's highly searchable. Also, think seasonality. Is it a gift? What holiday or occasion is it good for? Now, side note here is that if you have a tag that's longer than 20 characters, you cannot put it in one tag. You have to split it. But you need to make sure that you are splitting it in a way that makes sense. So sometimes that means you will have a single word on its own, but if it goes together with another part of a tag, then I would say that's fine, especially if it's a highly searched term that you're splitting up. All right, let's go through a how-to on how to do your tags in a simple, easy breezy way. So step 1, I want you to brainstorm 5 different types of people who might buy your product. For example, new mums, dog lovers, teachers. I want you to brainstorm 5 different types of people and also 5 occasions as to why someone would buy your product. Number 2 is to use phrases like gift for person. So for example, gift for new mum or gift for primary school teacher or whatever. Step 3 is to use something like eRank or keywords everywhere to search for common tags. You can also use the drop-down Etsy search bar as well. You also want to mix general tags with niche ones as well. So general tags are things like ceramic mug. Niche tags are more like mental health mug gift. So here's an example. If you are selling a baby milestone blanket, you could include tags like baby gift, new mum gift, milestone blanket, monthly baby photos, or baby shower present. So can you see how they're all using different words, but they are still being split up in a very intentional way? If you are struggling with SEO, you're not alone, okay? Lots of people do struggle, but honestly, the biggest problem I find is people overthink it. You've just got to keep it simple. This is something, we do teach you in depth in the HBSA. We teach you all about SEO, how the Google algorithm works, how the Etsy algorithm works, all that kind of stuff. But the thing that I would suggest if you're not in the HBSA is just to keep it as simple as you can. Okie dokie, now let's talk about your pricing. This is step 5. So fun fact is that perceived value pricing is massive. Now I remember talking about perceived value pricing way back when in 2019, and back then no one in the handmade business space was talking about it. These days everyone's talking about it, right? But what this means is that a good price should not just cover your costs and ensure you make a profit. A good price positions your product. So here's like the basics that you need to consider. Your materials, your time, your packaging, your fees. Your fees on Etsy are roughly going to be between 21 to 25% as a rough guess. Also, you want to think about your market. Are you in the premium market, affordable market, giftable market? Because wherever your market is, and that should also be linked to your target audience, is how you should be pricing your product. And then there is the perceived value. Do your photos and your descriptions and everything we've talked about, do they support your price? So let's take a water bottle, for example. If your water bottle is aimed at a premium market and you are pricing it affordably, then those two things don't match up. You wouldn't price a premium product as an affordable product. You wouldn't do that. There's a disconnect there. So you need to make sure that your perceived value is being painted by your price. Your price actually says a lot about your product, and actually not enough people think about that. So how do we actually do this? Okay, so the first step is to add up your material costs, your time, like what your hourly rate is, what you're paying yourself. Newsflash, you should be paying yourself from day one. I do not care who you are, how long you've been doing this, you should be at least baking that in, your time, to your pricing from day one. But anyway, you have to add up your material costs, your time, your packaging, your Etsy fees, all the normal things that you need to take into account. Then I want you to check similar products in your category for price ranges. Then decide on your brand positioning. Are you budget? Are you mid-range? Are you luxury? Number 4, if you are premium, make sure everything about your brand, your business reflects that. Photos, listing language, delivery experience, everything has to be luxe. Bonus tip here, offer free shipping if you can. Etsy does push free shipping listings higher in search, and you can actually build this into your price if needed. Honestly, you're not losing anything. If you are doing free postage, they're just building it into their product price. So do not worry about losing anything. You are not going to be losing anything. Also, I know there's been a lot of talk. People say, oh, I did free postage. It didn't really work for me. The thing about that is it depends what product and what 2 months you are comparing it to. If you're comparing January to June, January you did free postage, June you didn't, and June was a better month for you, it might not be the free postage, it might be something else, it might be your product is seasonal, whatever. So I would honestly, if you're gonna test the free shipping thing, do it for at least 6 months. Don't chicken out halfway through, take it off. Honestly, in all my years of e-commerce, retail, free shipping has always and will always come out on top. All right. What a mammoth episode this has been, but let's do a quick little recap before you guys go. So to create a highly converting Etsy listing, here is your list of things you need to do. Use searchable customer first language in your title. Lead with a really strong thumbnail photo. Tell a story in your description. Don't just list specifications and features and benefits. Use all 13 tags strategically. Price in a way that reflects the value of the product and positions your brand. So your homework for today is to choose one of your listings. Don't change one that's already working, or if you want to, make a copy of it first. I want you to give it a full refresh based on everything we've talked about in this video/podcast. Then I want you to track it fully for at least 4 months and look at the difference and see whether there's been any changes. So guys, I really hope that this has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for listening/watching, and I will see you all real soon.